I do skip it every single time it comes on in the car because I'm so sorry, I cannot get with that song.
Hit it, DJ.
Cardi B's highly anticipated sophomore album, Am I the Problem, has came out, and I have not stopped listening to it. And I've been seeing so many people give their opinions, and I've given a few of my opinions on TikTok, but I wanted to make an official video talking about everything in regards to this album. So let's get into it. Now, before I get into how I feel about some of these songs on the album, I just want to let you know that I did not like every single song on this album. Everything isn't going to be hate. There's going to be a lot of love that I have towards this album, but there are quite a few songs that I just didn't really care about, right? And I just can't fake it for the camera. I'm so sorry, y'all. I cannot fake how I feel about some of these songs because some of them are just kind of bleh to me personally. So when I'm talking about the songs, we're going to talk about if it's a bop or flop, right? Bop meaning that I'm going to be replaying it, I'm going to be keeping it in the downloads, right? And flop meaning that I am not caring about this at all. I'm so sorry. Starting off the album, we started off incredibly strong with Dead, which featured Summer Walker. I really did like Summer Walker in this song. I really liked Cardi B. I loved her verses, but what I didn't like with this beat change that it had, I felt like the beat change really took me out of the element of the song, right? Because I feel like, despite the fact that beat changes are popular in music and sometimes they can be incredibly impactful to a song in a positive way, I feel like the beat change in this song was not really that good, and that kind of just turned me off from the song, but I still feel like overall had really good solid elements. Dead is definitely a bop. Now, Hello is a really good follow-up to Dead in my opinion. I feel like if not Dead, Hello could have been a really good way to start off the album, right? Start off a really good vibe that people love Cardi B for, right? They love her upbeat songs, they love her talking her mess. I feel like it's a good party song as well, right? So it being in the beginning of the album, I really love that. It being after Dead, I also really like that. I feel like it was really good. In my opinion, despite the fact that it was a different sound for Cardi B in a way, I feel like it was still kind of classic Cardi B. Hello is definitely a bop. Magnet was also a song I really enjoyed, and what I also really enjoyed with the drama that kind of followed after, right? People were talking about her disses towards allegedly Sweetie, JT, and Ice Spice. Most importantly, JT, right? Because she had quite a few lines that were kind of really accurate to her. And since then, I've seen that there has been a beef between JT and Cardi B, but I haven't really looked into it that much, right? Because it's literally happening as I speak. And honestly, I feel like JT kind of had it coming, right? I feel like she's been kind of snarky to Cardi B, despite the fact that Cardi B really helped her and the City Girls in the beginning. It's incredibly crazy to me. And also, I feel like JT thinks she had this footing in the female rap game that she currently does not have, right? On my TikTok, I've talked before about how I feel like JT is underwhelming as a rapper. I feel like she hasn't really given a super great bar since leaving the City Girls. I feel like the reason as to why JT did so well in the City Girls was because she had Carisha, and Carisha wasn't as good as JT. So when you're compared to Carisha, you sound like Nicki Minaj, right? You sound like this really great, amazing rapper. And now she's on her own. Can she really make a good song by herself? I have not been convinced yet. Now, okay is just okay in my opinion, right? So you have all the different factors, you switching up on Cardi, but also you switching up on Carisha, right? And to a certain extent, I could kind of understand that, but also while your friend was down, you did leave her. And the lapdog thing, honestly, what has JT gotten from being a lapdog to Nicki Minaj, right? I've been trying to think about it. What has she benefited from, right? Because when you look at other female rappers, they have all gained something. They've gained legitimacy, they've gained good numbers. But what has she gotten? Nothing. The only thing that I can think of that she's really gotten out of it was she did get a feature with Nicki Minaj, which Cardi B was wrong about if that verse was about, JT. JT did feature on the Super Freaky Girls City mix with Bia and Akbar and Malibu Mitch and I think another rapper, I can't think of her name, right? But did more people find out about JT through Nicki Minaj? Probably not, because JT's already a pretty solidified name in the female rap scene, right? You kind of hung out with Nicki Minaj trying to dissing all these people, and now Nicki don't really mess with you. There's other people that mess with you. Who do you have other than Uzi? Nobody. And after hearing that call between JT, Uzi, and Carisha, I do look at them a little despite the drama and Am I the Drama, I feel like the song was still pretty solid. So in my opinion, it is definitely a bop. Pick It Up, more like Pack Me Up. When I heard that Cardi B and Selena Gomez were going to have a song together, I was incredibly excited, right? Because I am a big fan of La Cardi. I love when Cardi B really gets in her Hispanic bag, and knowing that her and Selena Gomez had a song in the past, Talkie Talkie, I was like, I really wonder what it gives. I thought for some reason, I had this high level of thinking that, they were going to sample a Selena Quintanilla song, Trap Selena, Pop Selena, Selena B. It'll be really good, but did they do that? Of course not. Of course not. They did more of the Pop Selena, and I don't have any issue with that, right? This song sounds like that one ice cream song that Selena Gomez did with Blackpink, and I actually hate that song. So to get that on Cardi B's album really disappointed me. In my opinion, a flop. I do skip it every single time it comes on in the car because I'm so sorry, I cannot get with that song. After hearing Imaginary Players on this album and hearing some of the other songs on the album I'll get into later, I definitely do believe that Imaginary Players should have never been been a single. It should have never been a single, right? It should have been something you could have kind of teased for the album. Oh, I'm sampling this Jay-Z song. Oh, you're gonna hear something a little bit different. You hear it on the album, you're like, okay, it's a cute little rap song. Okay, she can do something a little different, a little old school vibe, and then leave it at that, right? Kind of like the Janet Jackson of it all, right? But no, she wanted to make it a whole single, let it have its own moment. After watching the Angie Martinez interview, where she talked about how she kind of kicked things into high gear after seeing the way people responded to that song, it kind of makes me wonder, would we have gotten the Cardi B moments that we've gotten if it wasn't for this song, right? I feel like a lot of people haven't talked about that, or maybe because they're not watching the interviews like I'm watching the interviews. But yeah, I feel like the reception of this song, even it being very poor, kind of helped lead Cardi B to having this really good promotion era for the album. So maybe it was kind of a blessing in disguise. You know, it gets hated a little bit, but all this good stuff came out of it. In my opinion, it is a flop. I'm not gonna be tuning into it, y'all. I do skip it every single time it comes on in the car. Now, I love Bodega Baddie. I love that sound. I love, you know, she gets in her Latin belt, like I said earlier, right? I love me some like Cardi. So I was really enjoying myself with it, right? But I really hate that I didn't have more Spanish, right? I hated that it wasn't a single. I hated that it didn't have any features. How a lot of people feel about bongos is how I feel about this song, right? Because I'm like, I'm sorry. Imagine like, I'm trying to think like a Bad Bunny, a poppin' Latin artist. Like, I'm thinking like somebody Caribbean, maybe like, I'm trying to think of some Caribbean girls. Tokisha, is that her name? Tokisha. I'm thinking Yelin La Mas Viral, like the girls like who can give us a lot pack a punch. I feel like this song could have really used that, right? Cardi B being solo is not bad, but I feel like this could have been a really good song to have some extra flavor from other artists, right? It's definitely a bop. I'm not skipping it. I love it. I've been singing it all the time. La Bodega Baddie, La Bodega Baddie, eh, La Bodega Baddie, La Bodega Baddie, hey. So it was honestly a track that really disappointed me in the album, right? After hearing that she kind of got this from, who was it? Gucci? Man, I think she heard his version. She was like, oh, I'm gonna make a female version of it. Salute the real bitches, like, okay, cute or whatever, right? It's escape in my opinion. I do get bored listening to it. Now, earlier I was listening to it as I was making my notes for the video, and I was like, wait, okay, it wasn't that bad, but am I still gonna be tuning in? No, not really. It's gonna be a skip for me. When I first heard Safe, I wasn't really feeling it, but Safe definitely did grow on me. I do like it being the lead single for the album right now. I love how Cardi B and Kehlani work together. I thought the music video was cute. I think everything about it is just great, right? I'm obsessed with it. I keep listening to it. It's on replay, and I feel like because we're getting into the fall months, oh my god, that sound. But because we're getting into the fall months, I feel like it was a perfect song to get into those fall months with, right? So I think it was an incredibly smart decision. And I feel like people don't talk about how well Cardi B does go with R&B, right? I remember she did have that song with Summer Walker a few years back that everybody did not like, right? It was her, SZA, Summer Walker. It was kind of, but like other than that, I feel like Cardi B usually makes hits when it comes to R&B, right? Like when I think of Cardi B and R&B, I think, of course, you know, Ring. That was a hit banger, and I feel like Say was also a good successor to that because, you know, they both had Kehlani and Cardi B. But yeah, all the R&B songs on this album are solid. They are good. Radio hits, I'm liking them. I'm liking them, y'all. I've been seeing a lot of conversations about Million in Your Word. People really love that song. Me personally, it is a skip in my opinion. So Safe is most definitely a bop. Now, I've been seeing so many people talk about this Man of Your Word song, and I listened to it and I thought it was cute. The verses weren't bad, right? But something about like the beat I couldn't get with it. Something about the male singer I couldn't get with it. Watching an interview with Cardi B earlier today, I remember she said that she wanted to have a female vocalist do that part, but because she couldn't find one, she was like, well, you're just gonna get this man, right? I think he does kind of fit the song, but me personally, I just can't get with it. So it's a flop for me. When I first saw that Lizzo was going to be on this album, I was incredibly scared because I did not like the results of Lizzo doing rap recently, right? And I feel like she was going to do rap on this album. So it was a pleasant surprise to see that she was going to be singing this time, right? So I heard it and I'm like, okay, Lizzo, period. And then I realized she was doing all that hooting and hollering. I'm like, okay, girl, we got to stop. Cardi B's verses were pretty solid on this track, but because of the way that Lizzo was singing and her just, you know, hooting and hollering, which there's no issue with that, but I just didn't want to hear that for that song. Her doing all that hooting and hollering kind of took me out of the element of the song, and I was just like, girl, what are we doing here? So I was not really satisfied with that. I didn't really like that. So for me, this song is going to be a flop. Charters is honestly the best R&B track on the album, right? We should be good. God knows, give it Summer Walker, y'all. That was such a good song. The back and forth between them was fabulous. I loved it. Have no issues with it. And especially going through these colder months, this is going to be a banger. So this is definitely a bop. Definitely top 5 tracks of the album. Don't have any more opinions about Outside. Liked it. Bop. Continue. Pretty and petty. If we're gonna be completely honest, everything that Cardi B said in the song was right. The only thing I did not agree with, well, not agree with in the sense that it wasn't wrong, I also think it was a good diss, was when she made a comment about how Bia's mom liked dating white men or something, which was crazy to me because Bia's mom is white. That's like me telling Cardi B, oh, you crazy, you date Dominicans, right? Even though she don't date Dominicans. But it's like, you know, it's kind of like stale, it's a lame bar. Other than that, what she said was mostly correct. At the end of the day, Bio kind of is a flop. She didn't have like any solo hits really. She has been struggling for a while, and for her to come at Cardi B was crazy when she can't even really, in my opinion, rap that well. No, I did make a video on TikTok talking about how Bia is who y'all think Ice Spice is, right? Because y'all make it seem like, oh, Ice Spice and Nicki Minaj, she would be nowhere without her, right? No, Bia will be nowhere without Nicki Minaj, okay? Bia would not be in these conversations if she did not have that era with Nicki Minaj, right? And I feel like nobody talks about that. Pre that era, I didn't know who Bia was. And you know what? Actually, I didn't know one of her hits. I knew two of her hits actually, but still she wasn't really going places, right? It wasn't until Nicki Minaj really brought her in and got her used to all these other people who listen to female rap, right? I would say that despite the fact that Bia still is not having like hits on hits on hits, her being aligned with Nicki Minaj has done wonders for her career, right? But also what's incredibly fascinating to me is that you being close to Nicki doesn't mean that you can like diss Cardi, if that makes sense, because you don't really have a legitimate reason to not like her, right? And then I'm so sorry, this whole Cardi B and Bia situation is crazy. Sorry, someone's texting me as I'm recording the video. Yeah, I think it's incredibly crazy that Nicki's beef with Cardi is not Bia's beef, but she's trying to make it her beef, right? And it's like, girl, you're kind of crazy. I'm sorry. That's kind of weird. The subject matter on the song was good, but do I actually like the song? Like instrumentals, will I listen to it again? Not really. I just hate the beat of it. Don't like the beat, so I can't force myself to listen to it, unfortunately. So it is a flop in my opinion. But bop in regards to content of music, flop in regards to how it sounds. Oh yeah, and the bars were decent too. Next song I have is Better Than You. I don't even remember the song on the album, yo, I'm so sorry. So it's gonna be a flop because girl, what is that song? Next is On My Back featuring Lord Is Right. Now I find it incredibly fascinating that Cardi B didn't talk about the fact that she had another song sampling Janet Jackson on her album. I think the sample was used marvelously. I think Lourdes was a great addition to the song, right? I actually made a video talking about how I think Lourdes might be in an incredibly interesting position because she has made a song with Nicki Minaj, because she has a song with Nicki Minaj and Sweetie, and those are Cardi B's ops right now, right? Hey, maybe that's why Cardi B used her. Maybe it's because she's gonna get somebody else to sing the song, right? You never know. But I think it's incredibly interesting that that girl only has two other like big songs, and they're with Nicki Minaj and Sweetie. And how I found out about Lourdes was actually through Sweetie as well. I think it's a good song. I don't skip it when I listen to it, but will I be downloading it? Probably not, actually. So semi-bop, semi-flop. There's Airtime, which I think if I'm correct, it does diss Sweetie. I personally didn't really care for the song, so it's a flop for me. Now Check Please is probably one of my favorite songs in the album. I don't think Cardi B has another song that's sound like this, but for some reason it kind of reminds me of her mixtape days, which is why I kind of liked it. I think it's short, so we get to the point. I like the whole check please that you're done eating, and now it would be check please. Like, it's cute, it's fun, it's short. I don't think it should have been a single, but I love this song, right? And I feel like this is a song where you know that, oh, she might not even perform it on stage or whatever, but like it's cute to be on the album, right? Like Imaginary Players. Imaginary Players do not deserve the single treatment, right? Because it's not single worthy, right? This song is it single worthy? No, but I still enjoy it, okay? For me, Check Please is definitely a bop. Principle is a beautiful scam, right? But the funny thing is, I think Gina told her to put her name as a feature. So hey, when a Jackson tells you to do something, girl, you do it, okay? I'm not mad at it. And also it had Gina's vocals on it technically, so I understand why Gina was like, make my name like a feature on it, right? Not just like sampling the song. I think it was a good song nonetheless. I think everything about it was just fantastic, right? There's nothing more I could say. It was just good. Good on good on good. I like it. I'll be replaying it. It's definitely a bop. Trophies is definitely top 3 songs on the album. I was incredibly excited when I first heard this song, and I'm like, Cardi B, release this now. I love that she waited. I love that she gave it to us on the album. I was incredibly scared that she wasn't going to give it to us on the album because artists love to tease songs, and then when the album comes out, the tease song isn't there, right? She teased this song for what, Valentine's Day 2024, if I'm correct? Maybe 2023? I don't know. But I remember seeing Cardi and like rose flowers in a video of her, right? But I'm just so happy that we actually got this song. I'm just so happy about it. I cannot stop listening to it. It is definitely a bop, okay? Real bitches make shit happen. Hating hoes make excuses, okay? Are we all hearing her? And honestly, that was the last thing I really cared about on the album. We got these other songs. She had the song Nice Guy with Tyler. That was cute. I love that Tyler's trying new things, but song itself don't really care about, so it's a flop in my opinion. Killing You Hoes, we just have some decent bars in it, but I didn't care about it, so it's a flop. Up and WAP, love those songs, but we already heard them several times, right? So, you know, bop, but flop for the way they were placed in the album. I definitely think that WAP and Up should have been placed differently in the album to make it seem like, you know, she wasn't trying to like get numbers to make the album bigger than it is, right? Like I feel like she should have at least made it seem like, oh, like I wanted it to be on the album for a reason, right? You know? And it felt, I don't say it felt kind of lazy, but it kind of did feel lazy that it was like at the very bottom. And also, you know, I'm not really a big person on like the placement of albums and songs and everything like that, right? Because I don't really listen to albums. I only listen to them when they come out. After, I just pick the songs I like and then I move on. But a lot of people who are like album heads, they care about the first song and the last song, right? Like those are very important to an album. So why is the last song a song we already know? Shouldn't it have been Killing You Hoes? That makes more sense to me, right? People don't play with the beginning of the album still, right? But the ending, a lot of people still don't play about. So I just don't understand why you were just like, oh, song I ever had for the past like 5 years at the end. Girl, what? No. Cardi B, you should have done better in my opinion. I'm so sorry, girl. I'm not sorry actually, because girl, why'd you do that? Now that the album is out, we can compare it to Invasion of Privacy. Do I think it will have the same impact of Invasion of Privacy? No, I definitely don't think it will. Just like how I don't think Pink Friday 2 is going to have the same impact as Pink Friday, right? Because at the end of the day, like when you are in that era, like the era that that album came out in was crazy and you can't replicate that at all, right? An up and coming girl giving us a smash album versus your sophomore album, which is like traditionally an incredibly tricky album. I think that she's doing incredibly well with something that's supposed to be like incredibly tricky, right? The album is a solid album, right? I think she did incredibly well. I know a lot of people were like, it's not 7-year worthy, which is it 7-year worthy? Debatable, but we did get some decent tracks out of it, right? Let's not act like there are not decent tracks in this album, okay? It's also expected to become a #1 album and is already a platinum certified album, right? What I think is all huge accomplishments that Cardi B does really care about, right? Because I feel like a lot of the rap girlies, especially because like rap is a very competitive genre, they really care about having the #1 this and #1 that, right? When you look at streaming platforms, the reception is a little bit different, right? Now I know that Spotify and Apple Music have been feeling the album very differently, right? From what I've heard, Apple Music really loves this Cardi B album while Spotify isn't the biggest fan of it, right? I think only half of the album did chart on Spotify USA, which has 200 slots, right? So out of 200 slots, only half of the album charted, right? It's like 11 or 12 songs, which isn't that bad, right? But when you have a 23 song album, only half of it charting in your Cardi B, that is not the best result. Now, let's be a little bit honest, y'all, okay? Don't get mad at me, don't get mad at me, y'all. No, I do feel like this album did have quite a few songs, right? Maybe too many songs, right? No, I did feel like this album had too many songs, right? I'm not the biggest fan of 23 song albums, right? But I understand why she wanted to be so many songs, especially because it's been over 7 years since she released her last album, right? But people are saying that cut the album in half, then it could have been received better, right? Because you're picking only the best of the best songs on the album, right? But you know what? I do agree to a certain extent, but hey, I feel like maybe then we went and got Check Please. And you know, I love me some Check Please, okay? I feel like the marketing for the album has also been incredibly well, incredibly entertaining. I love seeing Cardi B go on the news shows, the podcast, the talk shows. Like she's literally doing her big one, right? And even like the week before the album came out, she started like, you know, going in the streets and selling stuff. That was incredibly funny. She's incredibly funny, and I love that she's using her personality that's really benefiting her, right? I do think that the court case helped her a lot, right? Especially because after hearing that she didn't want to go to court, I feel like, so my camera did die, but I did want to say a few things before I get off, right? Being that Cardi B definitely did have a blessing in disguise when it came to the court case, right? Because she talked about how she didn't want to do it, but it ended up really helping her career and it helped the promotion of this album, right? And it was so funny that this all came at this time. It is quite funny how life works out. Thank you guys for coming to my channel. I hope you subscribe, like, and comment and all that good stuff, and hopefully I'll be able to make more videos that you enjoy and be able to stay around for a while, right? Thank you for watching my channel today. Have a good day. Bye-bye.